Hello everybody, welcome to another speedrun game against Mad Maliflo, rated 1786. Oh, I'm white, whoops. I was waiting for him to move, but that's not how chess works. So let's get a King's Gambit declined. Okay, he just develops, trying to play aggressively, taking advantage of the drawback of moving the F pawn. That is fair. So I'm going to take the pawn since he didn't take it. He recaptures with the knight. Okay, if I take this piece, what am I falling for? Check. Okay, so let's not take his knight. Can we go d4? He gets a knight. We take it. He gives us the check anyway. Also not my favorite, actually. So let's go c3 and prepare d4, which looks strong. And now maybe he'll attack this pawn since our knight's not here. But that would mean there's no queen h4 coming. And we can adjust accordingly. Also, his knight's hanging, so. Where did my sounds go? In the past couple speedrun. Okay, d5. Threatening the pawn. If we take, and he takes, it's possible. If we just go d4, which I'd rather do, and he takes a pawn, and we take a knight, then his queen can't take his own pawn. So I'm going to go d4 with a pseudo fork that he can get out of. He gets out of it with check. Let's take with the queen and develop. He takes the pawn, we take with check. He can't block with the queen because his bishop is loose, so he retreats the bishop, and now we just have a better center, and we're not down material. Nice. He's going to tempo our queen. Check. Here, we get a pawn. He gets a piece. We get a second pawn check. He blocks with his bishop. Doesn't quite work, but interesting. Okay, let's develop our bishop so that we can castle. Here or here? Let's just go here behind our pawns, nice and cozy. And then where do we move our queen? Well, now that we don't have a knight, although we will replace it. E2, he's going to castle and put a rook there. H4 is in a bad alignment. F4 takes away the square from the bishop. Okay, so I'm going to stick with F3, but not permanent residence, right? We're going to let him develop for free again, and then we're just going to eye his king. So let's castle. We need our king to safety. Okay, he goes here, looks at this pawn, maybe tries to coordinate, but we have this nice pressure on the F file. We have some stuff, we have some nice lines, a couple of intersection points. We should continue developing. Now we're threatening stuff, so it's developing for free because we'd seriously mess up his king side if he lets us take. So maybe he goes back, which is funny because then we just have lots of free development. And now this, we get a piece, he gets a queen, we get a queen, he gets a piece, we get a second piece. There's other lines in there, but Mad Maliflo. Is Maliflo, what's Maliflo? Is that a thing? Is that from a movie? I never heard it. So he does retreat, so we don't mess up his king stuff. But we can then just continue developing. And our position looks great. Our rooks are connected to at least 2 moves before him. He moves his rook, but that takes the defense away from f7, which seems to be important. Because now we can add more pressure And if he takes our knight, boom. If he doesn't take our knight, we still kind of get to collapse his kingside pawn structure because we have 4 units applying pressure. So he defends this pawn, which makes sense, but we could now collapse his stuff, right? So don't go rook a1, an otherwise good move. Take his knight, take his bishop, take his queen. Oh wait, maybe we had some type of this hitting the queen. I moved way too fast, but whatever. And then we can take this guy, and okay, we're still up a pawn and messed up his structure. We have our win condition. He attacks our rook, but the king is not meant to be attacking stuff yet. So let's develop and defend. Wow, he goes and snatches a pawn. I feel like that's extremely greedy. Can we prove it? c4, disconnecting the bishop. Worth a shot. Just removing the line of sight. It's not exactly trapped, is it? Maybe it is, actually. So he defends this rook, but what about the bishop? We go here. He has to go here. We attack it again. Ah, he goes to the back rank, which is super annoying. Also, our rook would be hanging in that line. I guess he can get away with it. Okay, whoops. Still looks greedy, though. So what do? We want to, like... His bishop's still trapped. Let's retreat our rook so that his king's not pressuring it. Protect this pawn. Potential to go this way and attack this pawn. Potential for a check. He doubles, which, I mean, he can trade stuff. It's not exactly a threat. Now if we attack the bishop, boom. At least we can pick up some pawns even if the bishop's not trapped. And if he gives us checks later in the game, it's not a big deal. We can always run or trade. So let's go for this line. If he goes here and we attack it, and he does go here, okay, he throws in the check. So this forces, well, no, it doesn't. We could go here maybe. And takes. Yeah, let's bring this guy back. I mean, he's not really, he was doing some nice duties, but whatever. This is fine. He's forcing it. He takes. I'm going to take with the king, so he can't bring his other rook and still hang stuff. So he goes here. I would love to win that bishop. I know I keep harping on it, but I might as well just destroy his structure, right? Let's see. Here. He has an escape square. Let's just take this free stuff. His bishop is still trapped, so maybe he shouldn't have done that, right? Okay, now he's attacking our bishop. Fair enough. We can't defend it. We could go here, though, which protects the pawn. Seems reasonable. His bishop's still kind of pseudo-trapped. We're threatening this. If he ever attacks the dark pawn, you could push it. He might get his bishop out at some point with the coordination with the rook, but we'll probably have taken stuff too by then. Also, he has some disconnected pawns. What did he do? He takes our bishop just to free his. But this has to be losing on the spot, though. Okay, we're not trapped, right? That would be a different story if we couldn't move our rook, but we can. So this is not a thing. Like, it's not worth a rook, that's for sure, in exchange. Okay, so he's going to try to hold this, which is interesting, actually. He's going to try to set up a light square blockade. Okay, so let's get our rook back in the action. It's our most powerful piece. I don't know what he's going for. Let's create a threat. He goes back. Cute, very cute. Now our king's our other piece. We want to get that in the game as well. Okay, he attacks our rook, but we have a nice stable square for it, which puts his king in a box and cannot be targeted by his bishop. So he just goes back and forth and says, well, how are you going to make progress? And we'll show him. First, we're going to maximize our pawns on the dark squares, getting them as far up the board as we can. Then we're going to use our king to put him in some type of zugzwang. So while he goes back and forth, let's get this guy on dark. Let's get this guy on dark. And this is one of those situations where I say you have infinite time. Okay. Now notice he can't attack anything because everything's on dark, right? So let's give him a random check just to see which side his king goes. Whichever side it goes, it abandons the other side. So it's nice because the king is slow. So he stays on that side. Now keep in mind we can sacrifice our rook for his bishop when our king has easy infiltration and then king and pawn winning endgame. So that's what I'm going to keep an eye out for. When is this it is giving back the material auto winning, right? And if we can get our king to d6, that should be the case. So let's just move our rook, I don't know, anywhere. Give him another random check. Okay, he goes that way. Fine. Let's go d5 so that our king has some access into his position, right? And then we can use that to win. So now a rook trade for the bishop should net us the game because we'll just get a queen. So that's what I'm going to look out for. Any opportunity to take his bishop. So Mad Maliflo was curious as to how we'll convert, and this is how. He's thinking. He is thinking. Our next moves are going to be just here and here. He might push the pawn and put the bishop here and think that he's defending it all. But we'll just put our rook here. Like once our king is touching the pawn, we'll just take the pawn with our rook. He goes here, which doesn't do anything. I'm going to go to the dark squares and hunt the pawn. Okay, maybe I should have gone the other way actually, just so my rook can do that, but it doesn't matter. You have infinite time, so you have 50 turns, right? It doesn't matter if you need 51 all of a sudden. So he protects the pawn, and now all you have to do is take his bishop. So we move the king here, we move the rook here, and then take the pawn. If he takes your rook, he loses, so that's the strategy. And you can see how the king is super important, right? When there's only two pieces, your king is as strong as a knight. So he thinks he's holding, but he's definitely not holding because we are taking this. And his king and pawns are not nearly fast enough to create counterplay on the other side of the board. Our pawn is only 4 moves away. We'll have to move our king out of the way, so 5 moves. In 5 moves, he can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's still 3 moves shy of queening. The counting method in the endgame is sometimes a lot easier than calculating, as instead of going, I go here, he goes here, I go here, you just count. Oh, my idea is 5 moves, his idea is 9 moves. You don't have to calculate. So we're going to take, he's going to take, and then he's going to try to get our stuff, but as mentioned, he's way too slow. Also, he put his king on the exact wrong square, so he can't even push, which is funny. Okay, so now we have to convert this, or he thinks that we can't, but we definitely can. All you have to do is zigzag your queen towards him if you want, like check, check, and then just keep getting closer. But, I mean, I'm just going to go here because his pawn isn't that close to promotion, so you can kind of make whatever move you want and it should work. I'm assuming he's just going to push. I mean, he might play h5, but yeah, pushing makes more sense. And the only thing you have to do is if he wants to queen on f1, all you ever need to do is put your queen on that square, and he resigns, right? Because he can't dislodge your queen. So instead of doing what we just did, we could have just as easily gone here and f1, right? So I don't even know why I went here. It was kind of a random move, but just to show you the point, like queen h2, as long as you cover the front of the pawn, there's nothing for him to do, and he resigns. Watch, I go here, and he has no legal moves, and you have infinite time to bring your king in. I don't know why this guy's not resigning. It's clear with my queen here that it's over. Maybe he's hoping for stalemate, but there won't be. Okay. No idea what he's doing. He's hoping for stalemate. I'm just going to show him that he'll run out of moves. Zugzwang. See, and now no more pawn moves. What does that mean? That means we can literally do anything we want. He has to move his king, and he resigns. So why'd you go through all that? I just moved my king 10 times, and he resigned. So let's go through the game. What even was that? Oh yeah, King's Gambit. Development and center. It's not free stuff, but if they don't take you, you always have the option of taking them. Like your pawn here, you put it here so that it can disappear. Hopefully he takes you, but sometimes they don't. You could just take him and your bishop's open and your rook gets open. So it is one of the top moves. So we're just improving our position for free because he has to respond. Now definitely don't take the knight unless you know the line. So if we take this knight, his idea is to go queen h4, check. Now you don't want to move your king because then queen f2. So you go g3. He takes this with check, and it's annoying. It just so happens that you don't lose here because his king is also in a weird alignment. So you have only move queen e2. And when he takes this, you have some knight discovery, like knight g6, check, re-picking up his rook, but it's super engine-y, and I don't even know how that works, so I'm not trying to do that. Although it is all zeros, which is weird. So we have no mistakes, 95%, which is nice. Couple inaccuracies. So here you could play knight c3, bishop e2, and that weird engine line, but you could play anything you want, right? Like we play c3, it's still all zeros. So we play c3, which I like a lot because his bishop's asking for it. He finds the best move d5. We find the best counter thrust d4, maintaining a strong center. Now he has, because of the fork, he has to take the knight, force move. He has to take this, force move. He has to go back. And now it's all zeros, but I'd rather be white because of our pawn chain. So bishop c4, maybe even more accurate, just targeting this, but bishop d3 is just as playable. So development and center. This force move. Is there a best square for the queen? So queen f4, queen e3, queen e5. They're all a bit weird. I don't mind my move at all. Okay, and now king safety and development. Says this is a blunder specifically because we get bishop g5 all of a sudden, which adds way too much pressure to the f6 point. So he needed this guy here. He should have just broken down our center with c5 or developed for free. But he blunders, and now we develop for free with threats. He goes back, and now development, center, and for free, because 94 is a threat. He goes here. Now, I think I said don't go rook ae1 casually if you have a move like 94. It's funny that they like rook ae1 even better, because I guess it's Like I thought it was just a casual developing move, but actually it does add pressure to f6, funnily enough, because it pins the bishop to the rook, and the queen's defending the rook, and the queen's defending the knight. So anytime you start taking and then include this, he's going to lose defender of f6, so it's kind of just like attacking it with a knight. Okay, so, on the surface, it looks like a developing move, but if you go a little deeper, it does affect the f6 square. So it makes sense. But we go for second best move, improving a piece for free. He goes here, free stuff for free, free stuff for free, free stuff for free, free stuff, and I should have not let him take this pawn, but I thought maybe it would, like, without calculating, I thought it might run him into trouble, which it didn't. So when he goes up, we should move our rook, right? The natural thing is to double, but if you allow him to take this pawn and you can't punish him, then kind of don't let him take it, right? Because that's your extra pawn. So we should have just gone back to f3. I was a little casual, and I let him take the pawn. And then I try to trap it with c4, which is, second best move along with just retreating your rook. Trying to just restrict the bishop. I figure even if it's not trapped, well, it can't move for the time being. Can't be too bad. He goes here, and they want... Okay, we found the best move. Just removing the pressure so that we can free up our other rook, right? So they're not tethered. And it's an awkward looking position, but it's still kind of even. It's a 3-result game. He doubles. And now we improve a piece for free. Engine says even stronger is rook g4 check. But what's the point of this? If he goes, let's say, f8. Oh, the pawn? Is that forced? If he goes this way, then we can attack it again. Oh, so maybe by just giving him the check, you can try to scoop the h-pawn. Also interesting. But we go for this one. He finds the best move. We find the best move defending and trying to keep our rook on the a file. He takes, which is a mistake. It's a mistake because after we recapture with the king, not the rook, we will collapse his position. So even though it's an even game, he can immediately go wrong. And so what's the correct move? It's to move the rook out of the back rank and hit counter our bishop. Not obvious. Also, he could try taking this rook, but when we take back, it's a bit suspicious. So for him, he should just counterattack our bishop. He doesn't do it. He goes for the human move. But now we're plus 3.4 and higher the rest of the game. So you can look at the graph. I had some inaccuracies that didn't take full advantage of our position, but overall, no mistakes and pretty clean. He's forced to go here and then free stuff, improving a piece for free. He attacks our bishop, so force move. And then he trades, and the eval goes from 3.5 to 5. So this does not work. Free stuff, force move, improving our piece, improving our piece, improving our piece for free, improving our king, improving our piece forced. Slow grind. If you look at the best engine moves, they list a bunch. B4 is number 1, which is what we played. Well, I'll keep switching. They're all the same. B4, G4, King F4. You have infinite time to do what you want, basically. And every move keeps the eval, as long as you don't blunder your rook. So we gain space for free because it's infinite time. So everything we do is free because none of it's a waste of time when you have infinite time. And now H4, you could have also played G4, G5, gone for stuff like that, but it makes no difference. Okay, again, you can go G4, G5, but I just did this simple dark square strategy at +6. Good enough. Now that everything's on dark squares, we could just find a way for our king to get in. I was hoping maybe he goes to the right and lets us infiltrate that way. Wait, why didn't I infiltrate here? What did I do? Oh, why did I give him a random check? My whole point was to get in. I don't know what I was thinking, but whatever. It's just a check. It doesn't mess anything up. And now we do this, forcing our way in. Doesn't matter that you give him a pawn, as long as you have enough pawns to win, it'll be fine. And all we need is this guy to win. So yeah, now our king gets access, and all you have to do is attack the pawn and sack your rook like we did in the game. Right? He takes, and then just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 versus 5, not even close, so I don't have to calculate. So we win a game, 95%. We gain 6 points. Maybe we have 2 games left. Another King's Gambit victory. Submit your rapid games in my Discord. Good luck in your chess, and goodbye.